The topic for today is Care for the Caregiver, a Journey to Wellness, supporting those who support others. My name is Jean Mao. I'm a doctorally prepared nurse and parish nurse at St. Peter Lutheran Church in Arlington Heights. Welcome to the session today on caregiving. We can look at, because I'm a parish nurse, I have to at least include some scripture from Matthew. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. That gives me such reassurance that we're not alone and that working with other people, we have help in our role. Being a caregiver is a sacred and a demanding role. While caring for other people, don't forget to help take care of your own self. And this presentation offers practical wellness tips to support your physical, emotional, and spiritual health. Understanding the role of the caregiver, there's a definition of the caregiver, and there are many, but the one that I chose is a person who provides care for someone who is ill, elderly, or disabled. You also may be a caregiver for your grandchildren or nieces and nephews. They do not have to be disabled or elderly to be someone who you are caring for. There are various types of caregivers: family caregivers, professional, and volunteer caregivers. But the responsibility and challenges are common no matter what the individual's background is. Managing medications, assisting with daily activities such as bathing, walking, doing normal grocery shopping, things like that. Providing emotional support, and dealing with stress and burnout. Why care for the caregiver? Caregiver is a rewarding experience, but it can also be physically and emotionally demanding. I'm sure you can relate with that. Older adults and family caregivers often balance their health, their home, and daily responsibilities. When caregivers neglect their own needs, stress and burnout can occur. And caring for yourself helps you continue caring for others more safely and effectively. The importance of self-care for caregivers. Why it is crucial? Because it improves the health by reducing stress, anxiety, and illness. As I mentioned before, one needs to look at their own health while they're helping other people's, because if the caregiver gets sick, you're not good to anybody, yourself or the persons that you're caring for. Common signs of caregiver burnout can be fatigue, irritability, and changes in sleep or appetite. And the impact of caregivers' well-being on care recipients is, if the caregiver is energized, they're better able to give support. So there's strategies for self-care, and they are listed on this slide below. And you can just take a look at them and see. We've talked about some of them: making sure that you're getting enough sleep, making sure that you're eating and taking care of yourself, you're nourishing body, soul, and spirit, taking time for yourself. If you get worn out, you're not going to be any good to the person that you're caring for. So I know this is a big list and you can probably add more into it, but there's strategies for self-care that are very important. These words I found from Rosalind Carter. There are only 4 kinds of people in the world, those who have been caregivers, those who are currently caregivers, those who will be caregivers, and those who will need caregivers. I think that is a profound statement, and I'm sure you can all resonate with those words of Rosalind Carter. There's some tools here to look at for practicing self-care strategies. Eat regular meals, stay hydrated, and aim for restful sleep. It may mean because of your caregiver schedule, you will adjust your own schedule. I know when I was providing care to someone, I would make sure the daughter had breakfast before she went off to school. That's what the mom wanted. And then I would share breakfast with the mom, who is the person that I was providing care for. Then she was assured that her daughter was getting off to school, and then she could eat her meal, stay hydrated, and then took her morning medications and then took a nap. Take short breaks during the day to rest or breathe. I like to go outside and just breathe some of the fresh air. Even though it's cold now, we know that spring will eventually get here. Ask for help, which is one of the hardest things to do, I know, but accept the support when it is offered. Move your body in safe, enjoyable ways. Elderworks has a lot of variety of different activities like chair yoga, exercise that you can do online. Just look at the resources that are available with Elderworks or within your community. Stay connected with family, friends, or support groups. Cannot stress that enough. It is very common that caregivers tend to isolate themselves, and in not caring for themselves, they have more trouble caring for others. Essential self-care tips. A lot of this information was gleaned from Mayo Clinic, who has wonderful, wonderful resources on a variety of topics, but especially found these on self-care very helpful. The tip is to recognize stress signals. We all have different stress signals. Some of them it comes in our gut. Some of it may be a headache. Some of it may be wanting to eat more. But you want to look at what those are. Is it fatigue? Is it irritability? Or is it a change in sleep or appetite patterns? Nourishing the body and soul. Eat well. Be very conscious of what you're eating. Exercise, sleep, hygiene. Don't let yourself get run down. Go out and get your hair cut. Or if it's a male, go and have a haircut and maybe a shave. Do things for yourself and go for regular checkups yourself. Oftentimes, the caregiver neglects themselves, and we're not going to be any good for the person we're caring for if we ourselves get sick. So keep up with your regular appointments, your vaccines, and take your own medicines as prescribed. Set achievable goals. Delegate activities. Maybe make a chart and put it on the wall and have other people help with things. It may be as easy as loading or unloading the dishwasher. It may be shopping. It may be taking out the garbage. All kinds of different things that you do not need to do everything yourself. Carve out me time. Enjoy hobbies. Do things for yourself. Go to a concert. Go in another room or go to another place and read a book or watch a movie. Whatever helps you to help take care of yourself. Practice relaxation. You can do deep breathing. You can do meditation. With deep breathing is something that I have used for a very, very long time. And I'm going to have us practice that right now. I'll give you the clues ahead of time. Would like you to close your eyes, sit quietly, take a deep breath in for 10 seconds, and then exhale slowly through your open mouth as if you're trying to make a candle flame flicker but not go out. Ready? Let's go. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now exhale slowly and make that flame flicker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How does that feel? Does it help to clear your mind? I know I've been in the choir and played in band, so I can inhale for 10 seconds and I exhale a lot of times for 30 seconds. But it just helps to readjust your mind, readjust your framework. We practice this at choir a lot of times before we practice. So it's something nobody needs to know you're doing it. You can do it in the car, you can do it at home. It's just you always have the tools with you to breathe and seek professional help. There's different support groups or talk with your physician. It does not, there are a variety of different professional resources out there. So expect expanded roles of self-care practices for caregiver. This section is called mind-body renewal. Some people find it helpful to journal, to reflect on thoughts, to write it down and write down emotions to gain clarity and release stress. Some people find yoga or Tai Chi helpful. Gentle movement that promotes flexibility and inner calm. And I know that Elderworks has sessions on that as well. And then the breathing awareness, which we already practiced, slow, intentional breathing for 10 minutes daily. I recommend doing it different times through the day, not to do 10 at the same time. People tend to hyperventilate, and if you hyperventilate, you can make yourself a little dizzy. So try to do it about 10 times a day, sporadic throughout the daytime. Mental and emotional help. Entitling this one the digital detox, I think it is a way to say about taking a screen break from social media. It helps to reduce the overwhelming bombardment of the news. You don't have to be a caregiver to need to take a digital detox from all the news that's going on in the world. Affirmations is speak life-giving truths over yourself. There is a website called Daily Thoughts, and they send encouraging or daily positive. They send messages to my inbox every single day, and I've kept a couple of them to share with you. 7 ways to make today a better day. Look for the good. Appreciate the little things. Be a helper. Tell someone they matter. Give more than you take. Speak words of encouragement and hope to yourself and others, and believe that the best is yet to come. Every morning, that's one of the first things that I see coming in um, as a positive influence. And I just find it very, very helpful. Some of them are a little bit harder to hear, but just from the other day, it was you are what you think today and every day. Talk to yourself. Fuel up with words, thoughts, phrases, and beliefs that give you strength and power. So some people may find extra support by reading that. Some people may find support by reading a poem or a Bible passage, whatever works for you to give yourself the daily affirmations. You know, there's that campaign with the sweatshirt that says, for the person in front of me, you are enough. And what an impactful statement that is. And one never knows when you may need to hear that yourself. And gratitude practice. A lot of people may use a journal and they call it the gratitude journal. Write down 3 things that you're thankful for each day. And yes, there are at least 3 things that most of us are thankful for in a day. There's probably many more, but try to jot down 3 things in a day. So, social and relational support and physical well being. I've mentioned before that there are different support groups out there. Some of them are in the community, some of them are in churches. With a lot of people, they find it helpful to go to a group where they may not be known and where they don't know anybody. I know that sounds kind of strange, but when I was doing grief work, we really had um, people from with outside of our church came because they didn't want to have any preconceived ideas. So I personally think that it's helpful to find a group that maybe you don't know the majority of the people, or that you go with a friend who maybe who's somebody who has either gone through caregiving, is going to go through caregiving, or currently is going through caregiving activities. And schedule social time. Plan regular visits or calls with friends. In the age that we have now with computers and phones and the internet and all these different texts, it's very important to keep a regular schedule on visiting. I know with my siblings, one of us has a routine that every single Saturday night at 8 p.m. she calls me. And it is just wonderful. If something comes up that we need to change it, we change it. But knowing that that particular phone call is going to come at that time, I really look forward to it and really try to have positive things to say, not just complain about what's going on at a certain time. Physical well being, again, taking care of your own physical self. Take a stretch break, take 5-minute movement breaks throughout the day. Hydration goals. Water is the best form of hydration. Keep a water bottle nearby and track your intake. Recommended goal is about 2 liters a day. So, know what your glass holds and fill that up, or whatever bottle or whatever you drink out of in a day. It's very important to stay hydrated. And sleep rituals. Really keep a calming bedtime routine to improve your rest. I know on my phone, it's kind of weird, but I have something. I've set my sleep time to start at 10 p.m. At 9 p.m., my alarm goes off and says sleep time scheduled in 1 hour, time to sit back, relax, and get ready to rest. It makes all the difference in the world. Now, sometimes I go to sleep before then, sometimes I go to sleep after, but it's a nice reminder if you're big connected with other things that you can stop and get ready for your rest. So this is a whole big thing on sleep. The American Heart Association has done a lot of work on sleep recently, and 1 in 3 adults don't get enough sleep. And how much sleep do you need? Recommended for adults to have 7 to 9 hours and maybe even more. Kids and teenagers need more sleep than adults. Yet the average high school student gets 6.5 hours of sleep on school nights, and about 20% get 5 hours or less. I know that as we age, the sleeping patterns change. A lot of times people may go to sleep early and then they get up, and then they're either up early or they sleep fitfully during the night, so they nap on and off. So poor sleep may put you and your health at a higher risk for Alzheimer's disease, cardiovascular disease, depression, diabetes, high blood pressure, high blood sugar, high cholesterol, infections, obesity. You notice it's everything. So it's very, very important. Also, if one is not rested, you're just not as sharp. May have more accidents, and they don't have to be in the car. They can be at home. You're maybe chopping up some onions and you may cut yourself because you're distracted because of how tired you are. You may have breathing problems, memory and cognitive issues. And again, as we age, those change anyhow. But if you're more fatigued, it is more common to be a little bit more forgetful, stress, and weight gain. So, those are all the bad things about not getting enough sleep. The benefits of good sleep are healing and repairing of our cells, tissues, and blood vessels. It helps to build a stronger immune system. Because your mind is rested, you have more creativity and productivity. You have improved mood and energy. How many times after you've had a good night of sleep has somebody said, "Wow, you're so energetic today. You're so happy." It's healthy growth and developmental for kids and teens. Your better ability to help grow and build muscle, have quicker reflexes, and less risk of chronic diseases. So remember, 7 to 9 will help you feel fine to get your Z's. I think that's a clever um, passage from the Heart Association. So, symptoms of compassion fatigue, or compassion is like I used to call it cared out. I don't like to call things burnout, but care out. So, feeling tired most of the time or having difficulty sleeping, feeling overwhelmed, irritable, or sad, changes in appetite or weight, withdrawing from friends or activities you enjoy. And I think when we just recently went through COVID, that was something that we didn't have control over. And some people, unfortunately, have not re engaged in society and still really keep themselves a little bit too withdrawn. And when you're cared out, you may have frequent aches, pains, or get sick more often. So, self care by situation, and this is the companion to Mayo Clinic's Care for the Caregiver. When feeling overwhelmed or burned out, the practice saying no. Set boundaries to protect your energy. One of my pastors used to say that he thought I had a spring underneath my arm. When anybody asked for help, I would raise my hand and say I would help. And he said, I'm going to disconnect that string. He was right. Learning to say no is very difficult, but very helpful to you. Delegating tasks, ask for help for family, friends, or community services, and schedule me time. Even 10 minutes of quiet or favorite activity can reset your mood. I know in different caregiving instances that I have been, the first time was I gave the primary caregiver one day to do whatever they wanted. I took over all the responsibilities. By about noon, I was ready to scream, thinking, how in the world does that person take care of this individual? All that. When the individual came home, it was like she had been on a week-long vacation. She was re energized, ready to do it. Another instance, I gave the caregiver the day off. He reacted in a totally different way. He did everything for himself, bought new clothes, went somewhere that he hadn't gone in the last time, and went to the theater where they had meals delivered right to your seat. He was happy as a clam when he came home, very much energized, and shared what he had done with the um, person who we were caring for. Rejuvenation in different ways. Using grounding techniques. Try 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 sensory exercises to calm your mind. And you can just say that those numbers slowly, and it helps to slow down and calm your mind. When coping with grief or loss, and this does not have to be loss by death, it may be loss of what was. Again, some of these things are repetitive, but journaling, expressing your emotions and processing your experiences. Spiritual reflection, prayer, meditation, or reading comforting scripture helps some people. And connecting with others. Talk to someone who understands your loss. If the person that you're caring for used to be the lead person and now is the follower, that is a big change. But by talking with somebody, it really helps you um, re energize yourself to learn how to evolve better to be a caregiver and care for yourself. And gentle movement, as we talked about, walking or stretching to release emotional tension. When managing mental fatigue or decision overload, I think this is something that we all need to do much more frequently than what we do. We talked about limiting screen time. Some people will shut off their phone and put it in a different room when they're working with someone or when they go to bed so that there's not that issue of distraction. And simplify routines, create checklists, or use reminders to reduce mental strain. And taking mental breaks, step outside, breathe deeply, or listening to calming music or read something. And affirmations, speak encouraging truths to yourself daily. That's why that positive reflections is helpful. And one that was just written was, "You are what you think today and every day. Talk to yourself. Fuel up with words, thoughts, phrases, and beliefs that give you strength and power." Wise words. When sleep is disrupted, we've talked about that a little bit about creating a sleep ritual, dimming the lights, avoiding screens, and use calming scents. Some people use essential oil, some use a diffuser, some use candles, um, whatever works for you. Some use different lotions that may have a very calming scent. Limit caffeine and heavy meals, especially in the evening, and try progressive muscle relaxation. Tense and release each muscle group slowly. I generally start with my arms and start like with my neck and roll my shoulders. And that for me is helpful. Every person holds their stress in a different place. So find out where your stress is and then look for opportunities to help release that stress. And keep a sleep journal, track patterns and triggers. So if the storms that we've had recently, I don't think anybody has really had a good night's sleep for quite a while, but makes a difference as caregivers. And when feeling isolated, again, we've talked about a lot of these, but repetition, I think, helps to let us incorporate it in our daily life. Reach out intentionally, attend community events, volunteer or serve, use uplifting media, watch or read something that brings you joy. Just on Sunday, I went to an organ concert at a neighboring church. The church was packed, it was free. It was phenomenal. So, to take an hour or an hour and a half out of your day for something that gives you joy like that is wonderful. Or the senior centers or the library has a lot of different things. You don't have to pay to do something like that. Just being in the moment, whatever helps you to be more engaged. Limit screen time, use checklists to simplify routines, step outside for fresh air and clarity, and speak affirmations as I shared. I am doing my best today. And that's okay. So when sleep is disruptive, um, we talked about this as well, avoiding caffeine, heavy meals before bed, relaxation techniques, the sleep journal, and the calming ritual. Very helpful. I find that very helpful, more than the rest. And encouragement for the journey. Again, I'm repeating the same passage. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. What a comfort that is to know that if you go to someone, you go to a friend, another family member, somebody who you don't know, and they will help re energize you. And final encouragement is caring for yourself is not selfish, it's faithful stewardship. When you're caring for somebody with a chronic illness, educate yourself, learn about the condition to reduce uncertainty. But don't go to WebMD and look up everything in the world. Find out from the person or the what the person has brought home from their physician to know what you need to know. Because if you start looking up all different things, you can make yourself crazy, and it may be worse than it has to be. And you want to give support for what the person knows is going on. Join a support group, um, sharing insights, celebrate small wins, acknowledge progress, no matter how small. It may be that somebody is able to stand up by themselves with just using their legs instead of pushing up with their arms, and schedule respite care. Take breaks to recharge. It is very important, and there are different facilities in the area. If you're caring for somebody who needs a lot of physical care, there are respite facilities. I know the Lutheran home has some. There are different other facilities that have space available, and sometimes it can be for 1 or 2 weeks to let the caregivers really recharge. So I recommend looking for it before you need it so that you've got it in the case that you do need that support. Why does self care matter? It improves your health, reduces stress, anxiety, and illness, and it strengthens your relationship. It energizes caregivers, offer better support. So, if you take care of yourself, you're able to take care of others as well, and builds up resilience, helps you endure and thrive. So I said we would go over some case studies, but I think there's some real life examples that I gave. Everybody has a different example of the people that they've taken care of. I've been a caregiver for someone as young as 36 and as old as 80 something. So it doesn't matter what, oh, yeah, 36. Two people who were 36, actually. So it didn't matter what the age was, knowing and meeting the person where they are. What are their challenges? And sometimes the challenges that we as caregivers anticipate are not what the person themselves anticipated. So each time I ask the person what would be helpful for them. One time it was calling one of their friends at 3 o'clock in the morning. Now, I thought that was wrong, but I did it. And then later, the person who was called said, "You don't know what it meant to me that you called and I could meet with that person." That was very important. So, again, putting your own thoughts aside, and if it's possible to do the things that that person is requesting. So this is from the National Institute of Health on taking care of yourself as a caregiver. A lot of the same things, but some people respond better to like a pictures. So activities like these can lower your stress, boost your mood, and help you a better caregiver. So take time for a hobby you might enjoy. I always like that they pick up musical instruments, guitar, like we can just start that. Go to sleep a half an hour earlier, take a short walk outside, try chair yoga, meet a friend for lunch, or join a support group. Same things we've talked about, but just in a little different format. Remember that you're not alone in your caregiving journey. Taking care of yourself is not selfish, it is necessary and important. And small steps towards self care can make a meaningful difference to both you and to the caregiver, care receiver. So this is another infographic that talks about self-care, and it uses the acronym of plan. Plan the different activities that you would like to do, learn new skills. If somebody is maybe the person that you're caring for likes to play some game and you haven't learned that game. You can learn how to play that game and make it fun. Bingo seems to be coming back like gangbusters. Maybe have some little prize or something for the person who wins. Um, Ask yourself and take care of yourself that you can say no and that you can get help. And it's okay to take a break. So know your limits. Know to take care of yourself for self-care. So in conclusion, we talked about the importance of self-care and the support system for caregivers that are out there. The caring for yourself is not selfish, it's faithful stewardship for yourself. So now is the time if you would like to share some discussion, or each person has had a different experience, what has helped them, what may be helpful to others, or what did not work for you and what may work for others. How to give caregivers simple ways to provide support. If you know of someone who's a caregiver, think of the things that you would benefit from hearing. So, and then turn that around. Listen and provide emotional support. Offer practical help. It may be picking up the groceries, or picking up taking in the recycling and garbage bins from the curb and put them by the garage. Give them a break. Help them take care of themselves and keep them included and show you care. Cannot stress this enough how important this is. There's different support systems available. We've talked about the support network. You can build it among um, and sharing caregiving responsibilities. There's different community resources, support groups, and professional help. Elderwerks has a listing of that. Mayo Clinic website has a list of all kinds of different community services and helpful tips. Also, the National Institute of Health is another wonderful resource to find community resources. And I find these different resources helpful because they may be local, but you may be providing care or support to somebody in another state. So, learning how to seek and delegate help, designate tasks, ask for help, and accept imperfection. So, I've put together a list of resources. Um, one book that is very interesting to read is called Tame Your Thoughts: 3 Tools to Renew Your Mind and Transform Your Life by Max Lucado. A recent video that was out, and she has now written a book, is by Emma Hemming Willis, Bruce Willis's wife. It's The Unexpected Journey: Finding Strength, Hope in Yourself on the Caregiver Plan. And Diane Sawyer did a special, and you can get it on YouTube. It was August 26, 2025, and it's on ABC. I found that extremely powerful to see the very difficult challenges and things that Emma, as a young wife and mother, what she did as primary caregiver to help her husband. It seems a little unconventional, but it works for them. So I think I found it very, very helpful and have watched it several times. And then again, Care for the Caregiver, Focus on You from Mayo Clinic, and Elderwerks is a huge wellness information on everything. So, essential self care tips with scriptures. Again, we went over all of these, but um, sometimes find it helpful to have a scripture passage along with there, not to preach but some people find it very helpful. But we've already gone over these essential self-care tips. So I want to thank you very much. I'm hoping that this is helpful. It is not easy being a caregiver. It's also not easy being a care receiver, the one receiving care. Um, for caregivers, we need to learn to say the word no. And if you are the care receiver, you have to learn to say the word yes and accept help, which I personally find that one harder than being the caregiver, but each of us is different. So I wish you well. Um, Reach out if you have any questions. Happy to answer them. And as again, Elderworks is the huge, wonderful resource that helps many. Thank you very much and have a great day.